Samanta chakvalesu atra gachantu devata saddhammang munirajasya sunantu sagha mokkadang Nammasavana kalo ayang badanta Nammasavana kalo ayang badanta Nammasavana kalo ayang badanta Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Dear brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, it's nice to see you all again. After a while, I think after about a year last year I was here. And it's also good to see a lot of you dedicating your time to come and listen to the Buddha's teachings. You could have chosen to do many other things today. It's a Sunday. You could have done many more things. To go and earn a bit more money, to go shopping, to go partying, to see friends, relatives, chit-chat. So many things that you could have done. But you chose to come and listen to the Buddha's teachings. You gave priority to that. So we appreciate that. And also, I'm honored to be here, and I would like to share merits with everyone at Buddhist Fellowship, the committee, the people who organized this, and who invited me to come and share the Dhamma with all of you. So today's topic is about how to manage our craving and attachment. How to let go. Okay, so why do we want to let go of the cravings and attachments? Why? It brings suffering, is it? Oh well, then why do you hold on to the cravings? Or why do you develop cravings then? Why do you get attached to them? If you know it leads to suffering. This is the thing. Even though we say that, deep down we really don't know what craving is doing to us. What it is all about. This is why all the time when we are experiencing a pleasant sensation, unconsciously we like it. And then with that likeness we go after it. We want more and more and more of this pleasant sensation. We think it's these pleasant experiences that gives us real happiness. It does give us a short burst of pleasure. Yes, that is true. It does give us a hormonal excitement. But it doesn't last long. They just come and go. The problem is, if you get addicted to these short-lived pleasures, these thrills that just come and go, and you think that's the way to find happiness, we are going to get addicted to this all the time to experience the pleasant experiences. And it's not possible to experience the pleasant sensations all the time. That's one of the biggest problems. And amidst our wish to stay with the pleasant, unpleasant sensations pop up too. So then if you are addicted to find happiness by getting attached to these pleasant sensations, what happens when the unpleasant comes? You don't like it. Straight away you come in conflict that experience that you're facing right now. Then you're going to react hard as much as possible to get rid of it. Because your wish is to stay with the pleasant. But unfortunately, the unpleasant sensations do come too. And then you hate it. And you will just try to do anything and everything to get rid of it. Either you will move away from that, or you will try to get rid of that. So the hatred gets developed. So more we are attached to these pleasant sensations and we crave for them, at the same time we have a big problem, that is, the hatred aspect also grows with that, hand in hand. Don't think just this desires or this craving for the pleasant will just, stay there. It creates another problem that you don't really see from your naked eyes. Now, so what's wrong with that? What's wrong with going after the pleasant sensations, developing the desire for that, and hating the unpleasant sensation? What's wrong? That's what you need to understand. These are chemical reactions, what we call going after these pleasant sensations, going after these desires, we call greed. And trying to get rid of these unpleasant sensations, coming in conflict with that, is called the hatred aspect. So, as a Buddhist, it's in basic theory, what brings suffering to us? Greed, hatred, and delusion. Even a child will say that. The thing is, we really need to understand what does it means. Then you will see how suffering comes from this. Then no one has to tell you to, don't go after these pleasant sensations. Don't try to get rid of these unpleasant sensations. Don't develop greed. Don't develop hatred. No one have to tell you if you can see what it is for, what they are doing. If you can understand, you will see the consequences of you developing these, and you will see, yes, true, at the end, what it brings, the net result is some physical and mental suffering. Then you will know, therefore, I must not try to look for happiness by developing this greed and hatred. I will not get what I want. What we are really seeking in life is to live happily. Am I right? But the thing is, we can't be happy if we are disturbed internally. That's the thing. This real inner happiness comes from your inside being peaceful. When your inside is tranquilized, when it's serene, when it's peaceful, that's when you feel you're satisfied, you're fulfilled. There is some unity inside. And you feel that you're happy. But you can't get this real satisfied, that happy feeling if your inside is disturbed. That's the thing you have to know. I hope you have understood that by now. You can have millions in the bank, you can be the prettiest, you can have the beautiful voice, we can have the most power on earth, you can be the most powerful person, you can be one of the most famous people, you can have all this extra material wealth. But if your inside is not settled, if it's not peaceful, none of these can bring you real, lasting, happy, that satisfied feeling in you. I'm sure you all have experienced this. So, what is this disturbance in the mind? What disturbs us? Why can't we be happy? What takes away our peace? All these disturbances we call, in science, emotions. It's the emotions that disturbs our mind and the body. So when we are emotional, there is motion. There is lot of, shaking. There's a lot of movement inside. It is that movement that disturbs us. And at the same time, these emotions bring a lot of tension to us. And it pressurizes the inside. So it's also good to know the physiology of an emotion. All this greed, hatred, what we call, all the emotions that we know of, we can put it inside them. All the emotions that we know. The desire, the lust, anger, jealousy, grudges, hatred, everything. We can, anxiety, worries, fears, we can squeeze it under those two. So let's take one type of emotion for an example to study so you know what it exactly does to you. Okay, let's take the anger because it's easy to understand. So when we say we are angry, what is it really about? What's really going on in you then at that moment, in the body and in the mind? First place, so when there is this emotion going on, the anger, do you feel peaceful, calm and happy? No. Okay, so you know that bit. How do you really feel in that moment? When you are developing an emotion, when you have an emotion in you, so it's very important for you to know this, look inside and feel how you feel. Then you will be able to see, a lot of disturbances going on. You're very uncomfortable. There's a lot of tension, a lot of pressure. Your mind is disturbed. You're not peaceful, you're not happy. You will see that how it brings a lot of discomfort to us. All the emotions are like that. But anger is a very easy one for me to explain to you. Because today, in neuroscience, they have found out a lot of things about this emotion. So what it is really is that whatever the thoughts that we keep in our mind, and specifically, Buddha is pointing out, it is our unwholesome thoughts that is responsible for all these emotions. What happens? These unwholesome thoughts are screened by a little tiny gland called amygdala. Now I'm connecting the Dhamma part with my scientific knowledge, try to explain it to you. You can just listen, don't believe it because I'm saying it, but go and do your research and you will start to see the connections. I'm just connecting it for you so easily you can understand what Buddha was trying to say here. So in the scientific way, the neuroscientists have found out every selfish thought that we generate, any thought that is concerned with self, goes to the brain via sympathetic pathway. You know, we have 6 senses. You know that? Everyone knows we have 6 senses: eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, the body, the mind, yeah? So when these things get stimulated, like the eye by the light, the ear by the sound, like that, when these senses get stimulated, these messages are taken to the brain via some nerves that's attached to them. Like if it's the eye, it's the optic nerve that takes a message. If it's the ear, it's the auditory nerve, okay? So like that, these messages are taken to the brain. And then it's the brain that creates a story or interprets your experience. There are 2 pathways that carries these messages into the brain. One is called sympathetic, other one is called parasympathetic. Okay? So now they have discovered any thought that is to do with I, me, myself, any selfish thought is carried away by this sympathetic pathway, and then there is this little gland called amygdala, and it's like the head office. All the messages that goes through sympathetic pathway get screened by this amygdala. And then amygdala will dispatch that message to whatever the glands that should receive that message. It's all automated now. Throughout this evolution, the DNA knows what to do. When we see something, everything is already cooked up here. So it's not something we do consciously. This is something that's happening to us. So we are very vulnerable. This is why we need to be conscious. We need to be aware of what's going on. We need to wake up to this process. Then only we can control this. Otherwise, it's already automated. So what happens when there is this selfish thought? It gets screened by the amygdala, then amygdala dispatches a message to the appropriate glands and say, look, there is a problem, there is a threat to the self, there is a problem. Amygdala's job is to preserve the self. So it makes the body ready to fight or to fly. It's the amygdala that makes the body ready for fight or flight reaction. Okay? So the first thing it does, depending on the thread that you have screened, the thread that it has screened, like if you say you've been thinking, so-and-so said this to me, you know, I was very innocent, I was good, but so-and-so said this to me. So that is the threat to the system. Whether you see that or not, you can be just thinking on and on and on, but amygdala takes it as a threat to your survival, to your good name. So what it does, it sends that message to adrenaline glands. Then it secretes adrenaline hormone. When the adrenaline comes, it prepares the body for fight or flight reaction. This is only one hormone. There is many other hormones work together. So the minute the adrenaline comes, what does it do? It has a specific function to do, to make your body ready for the fight or flight. If you are so relaxed and floppy and peaceful, can you fight? Can you run away from the danger? You can't. So what it does, first, it puts a lot of pressure into the heart to pump the blood quickly, so it raises the heartbeat. Then the heart starts to, pump the blood fast, and most of the blood goes into your muscles. And then the muscles get tensed. So they are strong now, either for you to fight and win the game, or for you to avoid, fly away from the threat. Okay? So when this reaction is going on, we are very tensed. And at the same time, there's all the organs, all the things inside is getting affected. And when this chemical is in the brain, our mood changes. If we were peaceful, now your mood is very affected, and we call anger. So when anger is there, this is why they are called the emotions. There is so much motion. Have you ever seen an angry person sitting still with closed eyes like this? No, you can't even sit still. With that motion that's going on, if they don't jump up and down and fight and kill each other or shout, they can't sit still. They will have to at least walk up and down, pace. At least they will have to talk to themselves. They have to do something to relieve that pressure, because a lot of pressure is building up. It's like now you have these glass kettles. You can see what happens when this still water gets an instant burst of energy. What happens to it? It starts to boil. This adrenaline does the same thing. It gives us the instant burst of energy. So then the system starts to boil. This is a type of boiling, and it creates a lot of tension and pressure inside us. So when someone is angry, this is why they want to release that pressure by either, releasing it to someone's face or jump up and down or scream or cry, because they don't know that what they are doing is they are feeling so uncomfortable, so unhappy due to this stress. So they want to release it. So what Buddha pointed out is actually releasing the wrong way has really bad consequences. Because if you release this to this person in front of you, they're not going to just wait like that. They're going to return as well. So at the end, you might end up even in the jail. There is, very bad consequences following that if you release this tension in the wrong way. So this is why we take something called 5 precepts. It is to control your behavior. When you are emotional, you should not behave in a way that it will hurt or harm or damage another being. That's the first step. So now come to the point. So there is these 2 pathways, sympathetic, parasympathetic. So all the selfish thoughts go via this sympathetic pathway. And what happens if the messages go via the sympathetic pathway? It makes the body ready for fight or flight reaction. So if you are always thinking, I, me, myself, I want this, I want that, so-and-so said this to me, so-and-so did that to me, why it's all happening to me? Anything that's to do with I, me and myself. Without knowing we are developing a lot of emotions that stresses us. So what we call all these unwholesome thoughts, they are actually the selfish thoughts. So it is this selfishness that brings all kinds of suffering. All the self-centered thoughts creates these emotions, and it is these emotions brings us all kinds of physical and mental suffering. So it's very important that we learn to switch our thinking from this sympathetic pathway to parasympathetic pathway. The messages that goes through parasympathetic pathway, they don't go via amygdala. They go to pineal gland. And now the neuroscientists have found out it's a pineal gland that is responsible to secrete hormones to make us feel relaxed. So the pineal gland secretes hormones to relax the body. And happy hormones. So you feel happy. When you're relaxed, you feel comfortable. When you're comfortable, you feel happy. Just see the connection. When you have gone for a long walk, or you've gone to the gym, gone for a swim, you have done a lot of hard work physically. After a while, you come back and sit. How do you feel? Good. Because you feel comfortable, because your muscles are relaxed now. So this is how we feel good actually. When our muscles are relaxed, we feel comfortable. And with that comfort, we feel happy. So it is that we need to, develop. If you're wanting to live a comfortable, happy life, this is how you get the comfort and the happiness. You need to strengthen your parasympathetic pathway. You need to activate your pineal gland. And in the East, it is this pineal gland that is called the third eye. And they say it is the third eye that brings happiness. And not only that, that allows the human being to experience extraordinary experiences. The bliss of the dhyanas, the ability to see beyond your eyes, to have the divine eye, to have the divine ear. What it is to me, the neuroscience also have found out that from our nervous system, we are only using 5 to 10%. An average person is only using 5 to 10% of their nervous system. So 90% is sleeping, dormant. But it's possible to activate that. So getting enlightened means, to me, you're working with yourself, getting all these nerves to work. And so there's a lot of work we have to do. Not half of our brain, 90% of our brain is sleeping. Apparently Einstein had a little bit more nerves working than the normal average human being. I think 12% or 15%. They have measured because Einstein's brain was preserved. So, it's all these selfish thoughts we call the unwholesome thoughts, and it is these unwholesome thoughts that brings a lot of physical and mental suffering to us. So we need to shift our thinking from selfish thoughts to good thoughts. They are called the wholesome thoughts. So if we can think in the wholesome way, internally there is some changes that will take place, and we'll be able to get what we want. What we want at the end is calmness, comfort, peace of mind, and happiness. We thought by going after the pleasant, by buying everything that we like, by trying to please our eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, the body as much as we can be happy. But what we being doing by doing that is going after these pleasant sensations, we being arousing the system, we being developing emotions. So when we continue doing this, stirring up the system, no way we can be peaceful. So I want to show you a video clip that shows the physiology of the fear actually. We were talking about anger, but anger and fear, it's two sides of the same coin. It's coming from the fight or flight reaction. So fight means the anger, fly means the fear. So it's easy to show the physiology of the fear. So what it's going to show you is the minute that you start to see, before even you can start to think about, this internal reaction starts. This is why I said this is all automated. We are victims of this because it's a DNA now, it's at work. So what Buddha is pointing to us is be conscious of this internal process. That's what we have to do, why we have to develop sati. We need to learn to be able to pay attention to ourselves, to within. Then you can see this unconscious process going on. So then we can take charge. First you need to be convinced, yes, this is what's going on. And then we know the cause of this. It's the thoughts that creating this havoc. All right, and we know specifically it's unwholesome, bad thoughts that creating these emotions. Then we have to learn to think the good thoughts, the wholesome thoughts. Let go of the bad, but think of the good thoughts. Okay? So first, we need to know what this craving, what this anger, the fear, the lust, the grudges, these things, what they do to us. So you will know they are not things for you to develop. They are not things for you to entertain. If you continue to live with emotions, enormous suffering will come to the point you will get so frustrated, you are trying to do anything and everything to find happiness, but you are not getting it, then you get frustrated to the level we call someone is depressed. Then it goes down to clinical depression, then to mental illness. Then you are so unhappy, you don't want to live anymore, you can't bear the pain, I want to suicide. So it goes down in that pathway if we are not careful. So just let's first watch this one. I want to stop. Did I show this to you last time? No. Okay. Probably you can switch off all the lights. Let's first watch how the brain has evolved, because it's through the evolution that we have evolved. So these scientists will show you how the brain has evolved, and it will show you about this small amygdala as well. And all the emotions are processed by this amygdala. And then the best thing that has happened to us is through the evolution, we also have developed a part called prefrontal cortex in our brain. In that prefrontal cortex, that's where we can process rational, logical thinking, which no other beings can do that. Only the human beings. Animals, even chimpanzees, they only have just the normal thinking that process emotions. But we have the advantage, thanks to that latest developed part in the brain, that we can think rationally and logically. So we can change things. We have the power to think what we want to think, but the animals don't have. So the animals all the time live with emotions. Their whole life is dominated by emotions. if we don't live consciously and don't know what's going on and the ability that we have to change this, we also will be living like animals just with emotions. But there is a price to pay. If you want to live with emotions, there will be enormous physical and mental suffering. So that's why we are so lucky we have this latest part in the brain that gives us the ability to think rationally, logically. It helps us to understand things, so we can take charge. We can create the experiences that we want to really experience, whether you want to experience stress or you want to experience physical comfort and mental stability and bliss, you can, because we have the ability to do that. So let's watch how this brain has evolved, and it will give you an idea. Then we'll watch the physiology of an emotion.
As humans have evolved, it's doubled in size. It weighs only 3 pounds, but it consumes 20% of all the fuel our bodies take in, generating enough energy to keep a light bulb burning.
And you have to consider the brain having evolved like an old house, where we just added different rooms. And so there's all these stairways and connections.
In the basement is the oldest part, called the brain stem. It's something we share with reptiles and other mammals. It's what keeps us alive, governing vital functions like heart rate, respiration, digestion, and blood pressure. Things that happen without having to think about them.
The next level up, the first floor, more evolved. Hundreds of thousands of years later, it's called the limbic system. And this is very important in the processing of emotions.
Within the limbic system are the amygdala, 2 nuggets of tissue, 1 in each half of the brain. They are no bigger than a fingernail, yet they are the brain's central command center for our emotional reactions. One of the simplest and strongest of these is fear, a primal emotion we all share.
If you had to pick one brain region that was most important in fear, it would be the amygdala.
What scientists discovered is that as humans evolved, another part of the brain, called the cortex, also became involved in processing fear.
The part that makes us most human about the brain is our frontal cortex.
If the amygdala is the first floor, the cortex is the second floor of the brain. It's the brain's thin, wrinkly outer layer that's divided into 4 sets of lobes.
If you unfolded the cortex of a monkey, it would be about the size of a piece of paper. If you unfolded our cortex, it's about 4 sheets of paper large. And the reason it's wrinkly is because you have to squish that all inside of the skull.
The frontal lobes comprise the area just above our eyes, and these are the newest rooms of the brain. As humans evolved, the frontal lobes became the place where conscious, rational thought is processed. It's where we do our problem solving.
The frontal lobes are so interesting because they are really the conductor of the brain. They synchronize all activity.
Scientists made a major breakthrough in fear research when they found that information from our senses reaches the amygdala almost twice as fast as it takes to get to our frontal lobes. The speed of the different brain signals means unless we instinctively know how to react to a potential threat, we may freeze in fear, waiting for the frontal lobes to catch up to figure out the right response.
Part of what happens with fear and panic is the unknown, is not knowing what to do next, and so your brain essentially freezes the way a deer freezes in the headlight.
So the amygdala may get very fast signals about fear, but sometimes they're wrong, and quickly the situation may say to you, no, it's not a fear situation, and you're not afraid. So these very quick amygdala signals that you get can be controlled in sort of a top-down way.
That's the important part. See, these neuroscientists are saying these emotions can be controlled the top-down way. That means it can be controlled from the prefrontal cortex, sending messages from prefrontal cortex to the amygdala. We can control our emotions. But unfortunately, they were saying we are wired from the senses. First, this message goes to amygdala. So you are bound to get emotional. That's how it's being wired throughout the evolution. But if we develop the ability to rationally, logically think and act, we can strengthen these pathways that takes the messages from here to amygdala and to cool it off. You can quickly cool it off. And then, my understanding is that when we continue to practice, an arahat is someone who have passed the limbic system totally. The arahat has worked with this puzzle, what we call the self. So an arahat don't have a sense of self. So to me, looks like they don't have any messages to go through amygdala. So that part is shut down. So the arahants don't have any emotions at all. They face the world, all the vicissitudes of life, with peace of mind, that calmness, and with happiness. So they don't have a single emotion because they have bypassed it, because they have understood, they have worked with this notion of self. And they totally become selfless, understanding, We have the teachings about the no self, but you need to come to that in the proper way. We just can't say there's no self, but you have to understand why Buddha said that, how Buddha brought us to that level of understanding. So when we become selfless, you become emotionless. So you're left with total peace and calmness. And in that total serenity, in that tranquility, you are happy. So that's something that let's have a look at the mechanism of an emotion.
Fear is so important for our survival, we do something absolutely remarkable. Our bodies begin to react to a threat before we're even consciously aware of what the threat might be. Because when we're faced with danger, milliseconds count. At the first hint of danger, early warning signals are sent to the brain via the optic nerve, to our tiny and primitive fear center, the amygdala. This prepares our body for action. Next, nerve pulses are fired down the spinal cord to the adrenal glands near our kidneys. This triggers a release of adrenaline. Now we're on full alert. Adrenaline is the vital hormone that can flood our body in a split second. As it reaches our lungs, we breathe more deeply and take in more oxygen. It also makes our heart beat faster. Oxygen-rich blood is diverted to our muscles. They are now charged springs, waiting for the signal to run or fight. All this before our conscious mind has even registered a threat. This reaction to fear has evolved over millions of years and is known as the fight or flight response.
So you saw what happens even before you start to think. Just by seeing something, already the internal reaction has started. Yeah? So this is why we need to be very careful about what we think, how we interpret our circumstances, how we interpret the experiences. I can help you to do experiment so you can be convinced about how this hormonal things works. You can close your eyes for just for a minute. And then visualize some food that you like to eat, or a sour mango or a lime, or just visualize something that you like to eat. Okay, now tell me what's happening in your body, especially around the mouth. Okay, tell me. Yeah? What's happening? Saliva is secreted. Right, because I see you swallowing. So, see, did you tell now, I must have a desire coming up? Or did you tell now the saliva should come to the system? No. None of that was said. All you did was thinking about a food that you like. The rest happened. Instant. Was there any delay? No, that was instant. This is the power of the thought. We don't know what our thoughts are doing to us. Each and every thought that comes to your mind affects us. They all react. It's just that we are so insensitive. We don't know what's going on. So as a result of this, we become victims, and at the end we suffer. So this is why it's good to get, enlightened into this, to know, learn, and then control your thinking. Shift your thinking from a selfish base to a selfless base. So Buddha is pointing out there is a very important sutta that a lot of people, these Buddhist circles, they miss. It's in Majjhima Nikaya. It's called the Dveda Vitakka Sutta, 2 types of thoughts. In that, Buddha is saying, monks, there is a practice that I've been doing ever since that I took the Bodhisattva vow. What is it? I recognize that there is 2 types of thoughts. One is this unwholesome thought. The other is the wholesome thought. And he pointed out, what are these unwholesome thoughts? Thoughts about pleasing your senses. Thoughts about going after the pleasurable experiences. Pleasing your eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, the body, pleasing the senses. And thoughts about ill will. Thoughts about cruelty. Thoughts about pleasing the senses, going after the pleasures, thoughts about ill will, thoughts about cruelty. It is these 3 thoughts that is responsible for all the disturbances in the body and the mind. So they are the cause for all these emotions to come. So Buddha said, every single time, that when I notice that there is one of these unwholesome thoughts, I got rid of them. I didn't entertain them. So he is advising the monks also to get rid of these evil, unwholesome thoughts. He says, if there's anything I give you permission to kill, it is these unwholesome thoughts. So it's bringing you immense suffering. It is the culprit. And then Buddha points out there is the opposite of this, the wholesome thoughts. So what are the wholesome thoughts? Opposite of these unwholesome thoughts. So thoughts of renouncing, thoughts of loving kindness, thoughts of compassion. Opposite of going after the sensual pleasures and thinking about pleasing, you need to be able to turn it around 180 degrees, be able to let go. Thoughts of renounce mean being able to let go. For example, you start to think, I would like to have that. So then you recognize it as a want. I'm trying to please my eyes or the ears or whatever that. Let's take a specific example. You have a car, but you see a good car, better car. You want that. So the thought comes, I want that car. So it's about pleasing. It's about going after sensual pleasure. So when that thought comes, you should be able to detect it and see it for what it is, and you'll be able to say, no, I already have a car. It runs okay. It takes me from point A to B. I don't have to just go after the upgraded one or the one that I saw because I think it's, good. Because now it has stopped me giving the pleasure. This car has given me pleasure because now it's getting old. But it's doing the job. It's all right. I can be content with what I have. I don't have to go after that car. So you let go of that thought. You renounce that thought. Okay? And when a thought of ill will comes, let's say so-and-so has said this about me, then the ability to let go of that ill thought is the thoughts of loving kindness. So you start to think, never mind. Whatever they say, it's their experience. That's not true. May they be able to know the truth. When they know the truth, they will talk in a different way. They don't know what they are saying. They have to face the consequences of what they are saying. May they be well and happy. So like that, you need to turn it around 180 degrees. Instead of allowing the mind to go, wow, 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 you have to calm it down and say, it's okay. We can't shut people's mouth. Let it be. But may I continue doing the right thing, the good thing? Yeah? Let it be. May they be well and happy. They have a lot of emotions. It's with that emotion they are speaking like that, not knowing. Let it be. So like that, instead of you developing ill will, again and again and again, you let go of that thought, and that's about it. So you're shifting the way you think, changing from taking messages via the sympathetic to the parasympathetic. And then the thoughts of cruelty, when thoughts of cruelty come, you let go of that and you develop thoughts of compassion. So those are the 3 types of wholesome thoughts. Thoughts of letting go of all these evil thoughts, thoughts of developing loving kindness, thoughts of developing the compassion. So to me, with looking at from the neuroscience background, these messages are taken in a different pathway. So when you let go of these unwholesome thoughts and you develop these wholesome thoughts, your experience is totally different. When we develop these thoughts of sensual pleasure, the craving for the pleasant, you coming in conflict with the unpleasant sensations, developing these ill thoughts, developing the cruel thoughts, they all go via sympathetic pathway, then the amygdala gets hold of it, and then amygdala makes your body ready for the fight or flight reaction. If not for that, still it will create stress. It will bring emotions, and that creates stress in us. So if you can shift that thoughts from unwholesome to the wholesome, these wholesome thoughts will go in a different pathway, the parasympathetic. And what it does, it helps us to release, relax, and to be peaceful. Because it's a different gland that takes charge, the pineal gland. So it's good to know the inside. Then you can change how you want to experience things. You can be the master and change for the better if you don't like to suffer. So this is why you need to know this craving, this attachment, what it does to you. They are not just words. They are really damaging to us. These emotions, if you learn to live with emotions and you think you can be happy, you are actually, allowing yourself to get stressed, to live a very unhappy life. And not only that, one thing that all these emotions does, they kill us slowly, silently. Now, these scientists have found out that in our heart, when we are born, this heart muscle is a very strange muscle. It beats by itself. Now they are saying when we are born, it's already in it how many times it can beat. So when we are born, the heart is already programmed how many times that muscle can beat. So you saw what happens when we are afraid, when we have anxiety, worries, anger. You saw in there, and also next time you look inside, what will happen to you? You will see the heart goes boom, 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 boom. It races, the heartbeat races. So what is it doing to you? It's taking away your life. So this is why it's very important for us to learn to live a relaxed life. Relax. That's the most important thing if you want to live a healthy, good, long life. So it's not the money, it's not the power, the fame, the material things that's going to give you the real peace and happiness in your life. It is this ability to live a relaxed, comfortable life that will give you peace of mind and happiness. So don't stir up your body and mind too much. All these things you need to learn to calm down. Then you can live a good life, comfortable life. So learn to live a contented life. This is the Buddha's teachings. That's why Buddha was saying, contentment is the biggest and the highest wealth. You see? So be happy with what you have. Don't live the life to go and work. Don't live the life to earn money. Don't live the life to pay the bills. Don't live the life to go and get, 100,000 loans. So you have to work like a donkey to pay those loans. Learn to live a very simple, grounded life with little expenses. Keep it to the minimum. And spend more time on relaxing. More time on investigating yourself. More time on paying attention to what goes on in this screen, not the TV. Because that will make you emotional again. You even don't know who the people are there. You get sad, you get upset, you get afraid. What's the point? Put more time to watch your own mind to see what kind of thoughts are going on. If it's junk, get rid of them and plant the good ones. Make a shift from this selfish thinking to good, wholesome thinking. That will solve a lot of your problems. Today, all these problems stems from we being very selfish, being very self-centered. And that's why today we have the highest cause of death as suicide. Because it's all this stress doing this damage. Because we being selfish, we only have been thinking about I, me, myself and my family. The rest, who cares? So as a result of that, we are suffering enormously to the level we can't handle it. This is why someone decides to suicide, because they can't handle their pain anymore. We don't want to get there. You want to reverse this now. So take charge of your life. Thanks to this most evolved brain that we are having. Make use of that part, the latest part, the ability to, the prefrontal cortex that gives us the ability to rationally, logically think and act. So don't do anything that stresses you, that makes you emotional. Do things that to get rid of these emotions, to get rid of the stress that you have. Do things to relax. You have to learn to relax physically. Go for a walk, go for a swim, relax. Take time to sit and contemplate and develop good thoughts. So that will strengthen your parasympathetic pathway, that will secrete hormones to relax and to feel good, this calm and happy hormones. So you can live a comfortable, good life. Okay? So this is all scientifically backed up. It's not just theory. So what Buddha had taught 2,500 years ago, it's still valid. He taught to us with his own knowledge about this. It's only today the scientists are, doing this, that, and finding little bits and pieces of what's going on. Okay, so make use of this wisdom that's being available for us for free. So you can live a good life. Go and read this research. The results of this research was published somewhere in 2000 or 2001, somewhere there from my memory. But this research was done at the end of 90s. It took few years because what they wanted to do, some neuroscientists in States, they wanted to find out who is the happiest man on earth. So they kind of got a big sample from all around the world, people from top to bottom, bottom to top, including all the races, religions, popular people, normal people, everyone. Then later, they started studying the brain. When they were saying they are happy, they hooked them up and they started to watch the neuronal activity of the brain. And then it happened that there was a monk in that group called Matthew Ricard. He's a disciple of Dalai Lama. So then when they tested Matthew Ricard's brain, the level of his happiness was off the chart, so they couldn't really read it. I haven't met him personally, but knowing about this research and I have listened to his few talks. I think he is a monk who have got good dhyana. He is into the meditation, very higher level of meditation. So his pineal gland is fully activated to me. So he lives in bliss. So these machines couldn't read his level of happiness. So then they thought it's giving false measurements. So what they did, they have to take him to a different university in France and in Germany. So they were using different machines to check his level of happiness, again off the chart. So then they had to calibrate their machines, and then they got the reading where it was not in the average human level, the level of his happiness, and it was constant. His level of happiness was above the normal human average level of happiness, and it was constant. So then the results got published. The world's happiest man is a Buddhist monk. Go and research it. It should be in the YouTube or in the internet still. And then they actually focused a lot of studies on meditation, and they were starting to kind of investigate the brains of these meditators, what it does. Then they found out this very interesting finding. They found out that the people who meditate, their activity of the amygdala gets down-regulated. They were saying Normally when we are small, our amygdala is the size of a peppercorn. And when we grow bigger, it grows into to this size, like to a nugget of almond size. But then they are saying, when you start to meditate, this amygdala gets down-regulated. And the other finding was, when we are small, our pineal gland is like a size of an almond. This is why I think, the small babies, you look at them, how relaxed they are. So it's naturally happening. Their pineal gland is the size of an almond. But then they found out, when people grow up, what do you think is happening? Pineal gland shrinks to the size of a green pea. And then they found out, by testing these meditators, when you meditate in the proper way, your pineal gland regrows again, and it even grows more than the average size. Yeah. So you can do that too. So the Matthew Ricard's pineal gland is not in the normal size. This is why I was saying we need to learn to shift from this using the sympathetic pathway to the parasympathetic pathway. It can help solve all your problems. It will bring closer to your quest to have peace of mind and to be able to live happily. Okay? So wish you all the best, and hope that you gain some knowledge and it helps you all to deepen your understanding of the Dhamma. And in the Dhammapada, Buddha is mentioning this very clearly. The first and the second stance in the Dhammapada is about, Buddha is saying, it's your thinking that precedes everything that you experience. It's your thinking that leads. According to your thinking, how your experience is going to be. And he's pointing out in the first stanza that it is your dirty mind, or what it means when your mind is dirty, that your thinking is polluted. Your thinking is, when it's unwholesome, you're bound to experience suffering. And in that second twin verse, the second one, Buddha is pointing out, when your mind is pure, when you have good wholesome thinking, your mind is pure. As a result of this pure mind, your action, your speech will follow that, and as a result of this purity, one will experience happiness. So I will finish the Dhamma talk with those two stanzas, and try to remember that in your whole life. If possible, learn to chant it by heart. So early in the morning, every day, remember this. So throughout the day, you can choose to think how you should be thinking even in the most difficult situation that you're facing. Still stick with wholesome thinking. Then, no matter even you're surrounded by 100,000 enemies, they can't bring you suffering, they can't bring you stress. You can live peacefully and happily in the midst of all vicissitudes of life. This is the secret to the happiness. Manu pubbanga ma dhamma Manu setta manu maya Manasache paduttena Bhasativa karotiva Tato nang dukkhamang vedi Chakung vahato padan. So that's the verse that Buddha explained, that it's your thinking that proceeds, but if your thinking is unwholesome and if your mind is dirty, your speech and action will follow that. And as a result of this polluted body, mind and speech, one will experience suffering. And on the second one, Buddha is pointing out, Mano pumbangama dhamma Mano setta manomaya Manasache pasannena Vasativa karotiva Tato nang sukhamang vedi Chayavanapaini. So Buddha is pointing out that it's your pure thinking, manasache pasannena, means the pure mind will lead to pure action and pure speech, and as a result of purity in your body, speech and mind, one will experience happiness, sukha. One will experience happiness. So this is the secret to happiness. May you all be well, comfortable, peaceful and happy. I would like to share the merits with all of the departed relatives and friends and with all the departed members of this committee and all the departed supporters, the volunteers and also all the pioneered monks and nuns who brought Buddhism to this part of the world and who have helped to establish Buddhism in this part of the world. Let's think of all of your relatives and friends who are no longer with us today, but who have loved us to, helped us to, for us to be here today like this. So let's think of all these departed people who have had an impact in our life. May they be able to share these merits. May these merits bring causes and conditions for them to find peace of mind and happiness wherever they are. And may these merits bring causes and conditions for them to find a better birth if they are in need of one. And one fine day, may these merits bring causes and conditions for them also to find full liberation from suffering and to attain the bliss of Nibbana. Also, let's share these merits with the devas, the angels, the divine beings who long protect this dispensation and who protects and guides you and me. May the devas rejoice in these merits. May these merits bring a lot of peace of mind and happiness to devas, and may they be able to rejoice in their happiness for a long period of time. And as and when they wish to attain Nibbana, may these merits bring them causes and conditions for them to experience the bliss of Nibbana. Also, let's share these merits with all beings. May all beings benefit from these merits. May they all find freedom from suffering and attain Nibbana as soon as possible. Keeping this loving kind thoughts in mind, let's chant Ettavata cha ammehi sabhadang punya sampadang Sabhe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Ettavata cha ammehi sabbadang punya sampadang Sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Ettavata cha ammehi sabbadang punya sampadang Sabbe sattha anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Also, let's make the aspiration that may all the merits that we have generated today bring causes and conditions for us to find the association with the good and the wise until we attain Nibbana. Keeping this aspiration in the mind, let's chant Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo Satan samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Let's make the aspiration that may all these merits that we have generated today bring causes and conditions for us to penetrate into the Four Noble Truths and to bring all kinds of physical and mental suffering to an end and to attain Nibbana. Keeping this aspiration, let's chant Idam me punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamujjatu. Also, I would like to share the merits with everyone at the Buddhist Fellowship and who have worked hard to bring me here, and also would like to share merits with Sister Beely and also with Brother Kenyu for introducing me and working with the Buddhist Fellowship to arrange and organize these Dhamma talks, and also would like to share the merits with everyone who have supported these talks and also who is supporting the Buddhist Fellowship and all of the committee members and the supporters and the devotees, and with all of you who have come here today. May all of you and your family members, your parents, your teachers, your relatives, your children, your grandchildren, and everyone, may you all benefit from these merits. May all these merits bring causes and conditions for all of you to experience good health and long life. May these merits bring causes and conditions for you all to experience success in everything that you all do, and may all your good aspirations come true. And at the end, may all these merits bring you closer to the Nibbana. May these merits bring causes and conditions for you all to experience bliss of Nibbana in this very life. May you all be well, comfortable, peaceful, and happy. Sukhi hot. Sabityo vivajantu sabharogo vinasatu mati bhavat vantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava Bhavatu sabha mangalang rakantu sabha devata sabha buddhanubhavena sabha dhammanubhavena sabha sanghanubhavena sada soti bhavantu te abhivadana silisa niccang buddha pacayino chattaro dhamma vaddanti ayu varno sukhang balang Ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti me vacha ato nibbana sampatti iminate samejato Sukhi hot.